I'm here to talk to you about a nation. What on earth is this beast called a nation? Why do we have it? Why are we bothered about it? How does it concern us? I'm here to talk to you about the very land on which each of you, each of us, should I say, were born. Why is that important? In a borderless, globalized world, why on earth should we care about the land on which we are born? I'm here to talk to you about the idea of a motherland or a fatherland, if you will. Why on earth should we care about a motherland or a fatherland, as it were, at a time when we barely care about our mothers or our fathers? I'm here to talk to you about an idea that really concerns with grammar, with language, with semantics. Remember, because words are important. Words are who you are. Words are what make you. Words are what you breathe. Words travel through your blood veins. Words make you who you are. That's why a nation, I'm here to argue, is merely an adjective. What is an adjective? It is an adjective that really defines for you how you look at the world and, no, of course, how the world looks at you. A nation or nationhood is really a viewpoint. That's why what adjectives, what verbs, what nouns we use for a nation become really critical and important. I'm here to argue to you that the Indian nation state, the Indian land that you and I call home, has used the word nation incorrectly for a very long time. Also, I'm here to argue that the adjective that we have used for India has often not been entirely accurate. Why else, may I ask, have we had a Nehruvian idea of India, a Gandhian idea of India, but never yet a Patelian idea of India? I'm here to argue that perhaps the most important of them all would be a Patelian idea of India. What, you would ask, is a Patelian idea of India? A Patelian idea of India is dramatically different from a Nehruvian or a Gandhian idea of India. There were three men, and my story is about those three men. There were three men who brought us what we have and cherish today. What is that? An independent India. Three men, of course, because our civilization thinks in trinities, right? And there's a trinity, three men here too: a Gandhi, a Nehru, and a Patel. Gandhi is the sage. Gandhi is the man who rises above it all. Gandhi is a man who embraces austerity, even though it takes a fortune, famously, as it was said, to keep Gandhi poor. Gandhi is a man who really tells us that beyond the idea of independence, as you know, on the streets of your country, there is an idea of independence that starts with your very soul. Then there is Nehru. Nehru is the romantic idealist. Nehru is the one that teaches you that there is a fragrance to the word independence. Nehru is the one that teaches you aesthetics. Nehru is the one that teaches you you must be defined not only for the words you speak, but also the clothes you wear. Nehru is the one that teaches you that there is a red rose for every hurt and wound and drop of blood that falls on the streets in your fight for independence. But beyond these two people, there is a third person. And that third person is a man called Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. And he too has an idea of India. Because really, as you must know, there isn't one idea of India. There are, in fact, ideas of India. There are ideas that spring from every corner of this country that coalesce into a multitude of dreams, but coming together unitedly into one civilization. We cannot deny that there isn't one idea of India. There are, in fact, ideas of India. And the greatest tyranny, if I may put to you, the greatest injustice is done when somebody demands that there must be one idea of India, that there must be one unique idea of India told to us by our elites, given to us by our rulers, and we must follow that one idea of India. And the greatest dissent that can ever be done in this country is the dissent against this one idea of India. The greatest dissent is to say there is not one idea of India, there are ideas of India. And leading that dissent, if I may say so, is Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel has a Patelian idea of India. What is the Patelian idea of India? It is not an idea full of the moral sagaciousness of Gandhi. It is not an idea full of the romantic adventurism of Nehru. The Patelian idea of India is an idea that springs from the very earth upon which the man called Vallabhbhai Patel stands. After all, he was a man who was the son of a farmer. I like to say that Panditji Jawaharlal Nehru wrote beautifully a book called The Discovery of India. There is one difference though. As beautifully as Panditji wrote a book called The Discovery of India, and as beautiful was Panditji's journey into discovering India, there was a difference with Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Because remember, Vallabhbhai Patel did not have to discover India. He came from India. There was no discovery required. He came from its very earth. He had seen the earth being plowed. He had seen what it takes to break the earth and bring forth its bountiful fruit. Sardar Patel, therefore, had a Patelian idea of India. The Patelian idea of India is the pragmatic idea of India. The Patelian idea of India is the idea of India that sees India for what it is and not for what it could be, not for what it ought to be, not for what it is dreamt, not for what it is imagined. The Patelian idea of India actually faces with great courage and determination the idea that happens in the streets, in the gullies, in the mohallas, in every embankment and every railroad in India. The Patelian idea of India faces India straight, its eyes facing the country directly, one on one, and takes the country warts and all. The Patelian idea of India is unafraid of India as it exists today. The Patelian idea of India does not wait for tomorrow. The Patelian idea of India is not concerned about yesterday. The Patelian idea of India, as our great scriptures have always taught us, is concerned only about one thing: the present moment. The Patelian idea of India is here. The Patelian idea of India is now. The Patelian idea of India actually is fighting the battle here now. The Patelian idea of India, which is, I believe, the most important idea of India, actually sees India for all its problems and looks for solutions. The Patelian idea of India is not looking for romantic solutions. Therefore, when the Patelian idea of India is confronted with bigots, it fights back. When the Patelian idea of India is confronted with terrorists, it shoots back. When the Patelian idea of India is bullied, it stands up. When the Patelian idea of India is told lies, it calls them out. When the Patelian idea of India is told that there is only one idea of India, the Patelian idea of India talks back and says, no, there isn't, in fact, one idea of India. There are many ideas of India. It is the Patelian idea of India that warned India about all the troubles that finally came. It is the Patelian idea of India which said that there would be trouble from China, and lo behold, there was. It was the Patelian idea of India that warned Panditji Jawaharlal Nehru, that is, that while he was correct, Panditji was correct, in really worrying about fascist imperialism, there was one imperialism he was not being able to see. It was the Patelian idea of India. In fact, a letter from Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, only weeks before he died in 1950, at the end of that year, which warned Panditji that while he was worrying about fascist imperialism, communist imperialism was equally bad. It was the Patelian idea of India which told Pandit Nehru that actually we should learn a lesson from what has happened in Tibet. We should learn a lesson from what China has done in Tibet. We should learn a lesson that, as he said in his letter, our ambassador in China at that time seems to be speaking like China's ambassador to India. What sort of a strange thing is that? And why is that happening? It was the Patelian idea of India that warned Panditji that this was not a good sign, that this would come to no good, that this was a red flag. It is, sadly for India, the Patelian idea of India which was ignored, and therefore India has paid its consequences for not listening to the Patelian idea of India. It is the Patelian idea of India which said to both Gandhiji and Panditji and many other leaders at that time when India was getting independent, that India and Pakistan were dividing all its resources one by one. There were 55 crore rupees that India had to give from a share of bounty between the two countries to Pakistan. It was the Patelian idea of India which argued that already there have been attacks from Pakistan in Kashmir. Surely this would be the right time to sit down and come to a conclusion, to argue with the Pakistani side that, look, we want to bring a solution in Kashmir. Let's settle the border once and for all, and here is the money. It's ready for you. Please take it. After all, it's your money. But let's conclude everything. Let's not just conclude the financial transactions and leave aside all our other protracted troubles. Let's conclude everything in one go, in one summit. Once again, it is the Patelian idea which was ignored. What happened? Panditji rose his banner against this idea. Lord Mountbatten said, no, this cannot be done. And finally, Gandhiji went on a fast and said, no, unilaterally, this money has to be given to Pakistan. And the Patelian idea kept on saying from the sidelines, this is a wrong idea. You need to solve the problems of a new nation born out of bloodshed, born out of nearly 1 million people dead in riots. Today, solve it now. Do not pass on the burdens of today as debts for the future generation. Solve it today. It was the Patelian idea, once again, that was ignored. And lo behold, India has paid the price for ignoring that Patelian idea of India. It is the Patelian idea of India that warned that India needs a far greater internal security process. It is the Patelian idea of India that asked the communists and the socialists, what sort of revolution are you really talking about? You cannot explain to me what this revolution means. It said to them, we have a new country full of hungry people. We need productivity. We need work. We need enterprise. That's the only way the country will be prosperous. We have come to freedom with Gandhian purpose. And we cannot go down the path of another revolution that you cannot even explain. It is the Patelian idea of India that stood up and said, this is a flawed idea. What we need is an India where everybody has an opportunity to earn, to make a living, to really create a new life for themselves without the yoke of colonialism. It is the Patelian idea of India that echoes today from every news studio. It is the Patelian idea of India that continues to ask in every headline, why have I been ignored for such a long time? And it is, even today, to the peril of India if we ignore the Patelian idea of India. Thank you very much.